Hello, it is I, Ramses the 800th, and I'm here for another weekly manga roundup. And now we're not really going to be covering a lot. We're going to be covering three series. We're going to be covering Kagurabachi, obviously, the final chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, and the most recent chapter of Chainsaw Man. So I'm. Oh, wait, even before all of that, we have something else to talk about. Let me see if I can find that. It was I don't know if I don't remember if it was a tweet. I don't remember what it was. Let me see if I can find it though. Uh, yes, this on uh, um Twitter. Let's see if it perfect. Um, in the next chapter of Jump Giga in autumn, November 15th, we're going to be getting three chapters of Black Clover and 161 pages. That is insanity. I'm so hype. You guys don't even know. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more at the end of the episode. I'm at the end of the video. I'm just gonna go into a little bit of speculation, but that's again at the end of the video. So let's start with what we're doing now, and what we're starting off with is Kagurabachi, chapter 51, and this chapter is really good. This is peak. I the Kagurabachi meme. This is peak. This is peak. I also finally have a list of the names of the characters from Kagurabachi, so I probably won't be getting their names wrong again. But it starts off with just like a little flashback to Chihiro practicing his sword skill with Shiba and Samara. Uh, Samura. I can't pronounce it, but we're getting more on Samura's like ideology and how he and why he's blind, which is pretty funny. He tried to do it as a form of purity, but it's not working, and it's pretty funny. But we kind of have an idea that obviously he's more aware of his surroundings than people might at first believe. But like he said, he's straining to look at like a girl mag. But we get like the scene of young Chihiro practicing with a sword, and obviously Samura can like tell that he's hesitating, and we get a continuation of this fight, and we're seeing like what the monks are doing at the temple and all that, and we see Samura getting ready to basically hold them off. When I say hold them off, I mean he's getting ready to take care of them. We see Hakuri. Yeah, Hakuri. That's what it is. It's not Hakari. It's Hakuri. We're seeing Hakuri getting healed, and then basically saying like, "Oh, he's blind. How is he gonna fight them?" And they said like, "Shouldn't we join him?" Hakuri says like, "Shouldn't we join him? Shouldn't we help him?" And they said the best thing to do is nothing, and we see why. First off, this guy Samura just like smokes a cigarette so fast. He does the joke of just absolutely like inhaling the cigarette completely. But I also want to do a quick little appreciation of we see more of the statue, but the way this manga renders like this statue and every other subsequent shot, this chapter is like beautiful art. I want you guys to look at it yourselves and really appreciate the art. But now we're getting into a fight, like an actual fight. So Samura smokes a cigarette, flicks it, and does this. He chops people up. And now we understand that he fights with sound. Since he's blind, he can't see. He just prioritizes the sounds that people make as a form of targeting. Um, and then they also make a point where it's like, oh, of course they're gonna adapt to the fact that he's hearing us since he's blind and try to remain silent. But then this really cool, like, I don't know if it's a twist or like an idea that comes out where he does echolocation. He taps the sword. He's doing the EI thing where it's quick slash and then putting the sword back in. But whenever he taps the sword in, it obviously echoes around, and he kind of gets an echolocation of where everyone is. And so long as they don't move, he can deal with them. And we see the revival thing activate again, and Samura, it doesn't do anything to him. Like he can handle it so easily. Again, look at this art is amazing, and obviously this is the one for the thumbnail. But this is amazing. This is a beautiful shot, and obviously we get the owner of the enchanted blade, Toby Mune, and I feel like it's important to state that this guy without his weapon, without his enchanted blade. What does his enchanted blade do? And B, how does that like enhance this already like seeming broken ability? Obviously, he's trying to be like a godly man. Like he's trying to go like with he's trying to be more pure so he doesn't go to hell. But obviously, he keeps falling back into those problems. This is like really. This is like this is what the enchanted blade wielders are like, you know. But the way Ureha was talking about him, he seemed like a little bit above the echelon. But we need to see the others in order to tell if they are above it or below it, you know. And this is getting crazy, and I think we are approaching the 1 year mark for Kagurabachi, if I'm not wrong. Because how many weeks are in a thing? It's 52 weeks, right? So I think next chapter will technically a year's worth of manga. I think I might be wrong, but this is crazy. This chapter is very good. There's not too much like plot, but it's showing off what Samura can do, and like why he was so renowned. And that was before he blinded himself, I'm pretty sure. So imagine if he wasn't blind. That's always like the what if, right? Like, since we know he purposely did this, what if he wasn't? What if he could still see? How much stronger could he be then? You know? He kind of has like a permanent limiter on what he can do. But even with that, we can see how strong he is. Even like, and he showed Chihiro, like, this is how you cut it. It's so clean compared to, if we go back a little bit, to what Chihiro's cut was. Yeah, we see Chihiro's cut, which is obviously not the best, but great chapter. I like it. It's a very good like fight art chapter. Can't wait for the next one. I'm still a little worried that we might be moving a little too fast. Like we're throwing in the other swordsman. We still have 2 more to go, if I'm not mistaken. We have to see 2 more. But I'm happy. Like, it seems that they're each getting like 2 to 3 chapters. So at that pace, I'm okay with it. But, you know, and then we have to deal with the swords and all that stuff. But for now, it's fine. I really liked chapter 51 of Kagurabachi. Highly recommend reading Kagurabachi. Read it. It's great. It's worth it. What isn't worth it, in my opinion, is the final chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, this is like people have already said their piece. They've already done their stuff. I don't know how to feel about this, truthfully, because first off, this cover, this like double page, big spread, cool. We get all the dead characters, we get all the living characters. They're all basically together having fun. You know, cool, great, awesome. What I don't like is the contents of the chapter, where it's kind of like the story goes on type thing. You know what I mean? It's just Megumi, Yuji, and Nobara on a mission. You know, they're trying to figure out how this curse technique works. We don't know how long the range is. They're trying to figure out how this works. You know, they do like a weird wacky mission, and they find the guy. Blah 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 blah. We see, obviously, Fushiguro. Guys, I switched between Fushiguro and Megumi. He still has his demon dog, which is giant now. I feel like this is huge, but you know, whatever. We're getting weird stuff. I don't know why. Like, the choice to focus on like this random chapter and this guy and these 2 couples is weird. You know, I'm not really big on the choice. Then we get a flashback on the conversation that probably would have been in the letter that Yuji would have gotten if Gojo didn't have this conversation. You remember how Yuji didn't get a letter in that like big scene, I think like 3 chapters ago. Well, this is the conversation that he had that probably would have been in that letter, and he's basically like, Yuji, in the future, I don't really care if you guys remember how I am. I don't care if you guys. I'd prefer if you guys forget me. You know, like don't even remember Gojo, Satoru Gojo. Just like I want you guys to be strong. I want you guys to be all together, and I don't really care what happens after that. You know. And that obviously Gojo was in the last chapter, haha. But we see that Yuji never really healed his 2 missing fingers, which he probably could have. He probably could have done it, but this is an interesting scene, specifically on this side, where Megumi's asking, "Hey, oh no, Nobara asked it. Sorry, Nobara asked, hey, where'd you put that one thing?" AKA, I'm not. It's not really a spoiler. The finger. Where'd you put the finger? And he says, "Oh, I ditched it. Yeah, I just tossed it, basically." And he's like, "It's not dangerous anymore," which we know is true, especially now with the scene of what happens after this. But he's just like, "Yeah, it's nothing. It's like it doesn't do anything. It's basically just a ward. It's a perfect ward. So don't worry about it, right?" And then we get Mahito, which is cool. You know, we're getting the scene between Mahito and Sukuna. And they're having this conversation about basically, first off, hey, Sukuna, you're here. What's up? And also, what do you do now? Like, oh, what are you going into revenge? Are you doing stuff? And then we get this shot of 2 people, right? We get Mahito. We get Sukuna with Uraume, and then I don't know who this is. People have said that it's that one girl who was in Megumi's sister's body. I believe it. Truthfully, I believe it. Because it would make sense, like his choice is to go back kind of to how he was, which is the girl who was obsessed with that version of Sukuna, or go with Uraume and be something different, something better, I guess. It just says, I truthfully am not a curse, so I have no reason to hold on to that resentment. And Mahito's like, what do you mean? That's so boring. You're just gonna like settle down. He says, of course, I lost. You know, I failed, so I wasn't able to like do obviously my path was wrong, and that's why I lost. So if I do get another chance, maybe I'll live differently. You know, and this also shows that he's not in Yuji anymore. You know, which I do prefer. I do prefer Sukuna just going away, not being a problem anymore. And Mahito's just left there going like, what the hell? I'm the only one left. Like, he says like, I'm the only child left. That probably means that Dagon, Jugo, and Hanami? No. The flower one. Those 3 probably already passed on. Passed on, air quotes, in the form of a curse. You know, the curse thing where they passed on. But Mahito's still lingering. He's probably going to be the first one to reincarnate if he does reincarnate, you know? But we get you get these like big shot of everybody here, who was also my cover thing. And then we get the finger. Literally. I don't know how to feel about this. Because it's, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, this is such a weird way to end the series. Like, it's a happy ending, air quotes, but like, what's really the point? You know, having Yuji not have Sukuna anymore, I agree with, perfectly fine with. Cool, get him out of here. He's been murking everybody. He's just gonna be a problem if he stays. Having him admit, you know what? If I have another chance, I try to be a better person. I'll try to be a different person. Cool, I like it. This ending, people are really coping for part 2, but me standing over here, what's part 2 going to be about? What on earth is part 2 going to be about? You know, People are still coping that Gojo's gonna come around. People are still coping that like I feel like the main cope is part two. It's like, oh, part two of Jujutsu Kaisen. Uh there's no point to a part two. That's the problem. Like part two would be what? What? Ghetto's dead. The disaster curses aren't a thing anymore. The strongest curse is gone, and all these guys are so much stronger than they were at the beginning. Granted, they're probably not all on Gojo level, but they are together Gojo, Gojo level. You know what I mean? So that's like the I I I don't like it. And I think this is following the trend of series that go for a long time having weird or bad endings. Because like I'll say this, if we had literally just ended with like this is the epilogue, this is the epilogue. It doesn't really matter. The ending of the fight with Sukuna was cool. It's just these last few chapters that are just so weird. Like, why are we doing this? Like the catching up with everybody is like, oh, this is what happened, and then the explaining stuff was a little too much, and this was, I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me, maybe, because unlike I'm gonna bring up one of my favorite, unlike Naruto, where it kind of felt weird that we just got Kaguya and then the ceiling and stuff like that. That the ending of that fight wasn't the best. The ending to the fight here was really good, but the ending in general was weird. You know, because technically, if you want to get really technical, Naruto isn't over. We have Boruto; it's still going on, but with this is kind of like it, you know. And I feel like people aren't going to really remember. Like this is going to be like the weird thing. People aren't going to really remember the importance of the Sukuna fight, which is going to sound weird. What we're going to remember is this weird ending. Because when people say like, "Oh, the end of the Naruto War arc is garbage," it's because Madara was built up to be the final boss, but then up Otsutsuki, it kind of came out of nowhere, and that's the part people like gripe on. That's where they like have trouble, and then we go somewhere with that, Same thing with Bleach. I don't know Bleach as well, but a lot of people had a problem with the ending. Thankfully, we're getting the Thousand Year Blood War anime, which I think started today or yesterday. Started, and people are really looking forward because they're making changes. Obviously, it's not going to be a completely different ending. Blah 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 blah. This is a different story because the ending of the final boss made sense. The fight with Sukuna made sense, but all like the explaining why it had to happen this way, why it felt a little too much, because we reasoned out that, like, we as in like the people who read Jujutsu Kaisen, we figured out, yeah, Maki could have gone, but Boogie Woogie wasn't confirmed for her. We didn't know if she would be fast enough, and we didn't know if she was able to be like to sneak Ghetto. That's the problem. That's the problem that we're having. But it's this is the only part that people are going to focus on, which kind of sucks. It's like you were doing so fine, and then you just had to literally give us the bird at the end. But that's how the cookie crumbles. That's the end of Jujutsu Kaisen. And after this is no more Jujutsu Kaisen. That's another heavy hitter off the block. We literally lost two heavy hitters in like a month, in like 2 months. We lost My Hero. I say lost, but My Hero ended, and so did Jujutsu Kaisen. These are two giant gaps that literally just opened up. And I don't know where we're gonna go from here. But actually, I do know where we're gonna go from here because we're talking about Chainsaw Man now. And I will say this: vindication, because Chainsaw Man gets up, he rips his cord, he's back, and completely ignores the aging devil. He doesn't care. He takes the blood sign. He's like, give blood, and the aging devil's like, this guy can't be serious, right? He's dumb. And then we get Asa and Yoru I say Yoru, but it could be I don't know. Asa and Yoru basically having like not a breakup, but like a conflict again. And we kind of see Asa's influence a little bit by yoinking Yor's body, by yoinking the body back, and like, she's having a conversation where it's like, you beat him. He's, like, you proved that you're better. You proved that you're stronger. You won. So let's just stop. And then she's saying like, oh well, she's a devil. She's trying to like want to keep fighting. Um, and then we get one of my favorite, the funniest, the gaslighting. Oh, you're afraid of me. That hurts. And and Asa being emotionally like vulnerable, just goes, all right, fine, you can have the body back. And then Yor immediately goes, bang, fire, gun. She just goes immediately back to it. And that's a second shot. And this is like the weird part, right? Because I can't tell if the bullet stopped, like if he's stopping the bullet or if he's reacting to the bullet. I also didn't know that it was shooting giant fingers, but makes sense. So she fires the gun. It's traveling. So we don't know if this is like he's stopping the time of it and it's like pausing in front of him, or if as it's traveling, he's doing this entire thing. Because Yor isn't reacting to this. We see this, but this could easily be like frozen time, Or it could be just him reacting too fast. You know what I mean? It could either be him reacting fast enough to have this whole conversation with himself, or he paused it in space. How he would do that, I don't know. Since he's like aging has to do with time, but he's a primordial devil. I don't know. And then basically, we're having like we're gonna have like a gang up of Yor and the Chainsaw Devil, aka Denji, trying to basically jumping the aging devil. He's literally, it's time to have them devils wake up, like grow up. It says neither Chainsaw nor War Devil are mature enough to talk to me. He says that. He says they're not on my level, basically. And he says time for them to grow up, and we're gonna get a fight in 2 weeks. We're not gonna get one next week, and it's gonna be the week after that, which I think is Comic-Con week. So also get ready for Comic-Con. But I'm very excited for this fight, because my prediction is this, right? Yor is gonna be like, oh shit, probably get speed blitzed by aging and get like her shit rocked, like bad, But we also know she could do the close-up bangs, the close-up like gunfire with her hands instead of like the gun goddess. So it's kind of weird. We also don't know how Denji's gonna heal himself. Obviously, he got a little bit of blood from the aging devil, but that's not enough. Obviously, he still has half of his body missing. So his chainsaw's broken. He doesn't have anything. So we're gonna have to get somebody healing him so that he can be in the fight. Because truth is, yeah, he says the Chainsaw Devil isn't on his level, but he was also very confident that the Chainsaw Devil was gonna eat him, and that didn't happen. So just because you're primordial doesn't really mean your stuff. And he's saying like, you're not mature enough to talk to me. He's not saying you're not strong enough, Especially since Yor has the giant gun goddess. Obviously, the gun goddess, her main bullet isn't doing anything, but she still has her hands, like her giant like gun hands. So we can see how that works. But I think the key factor is going to be Chainsaw Man Denji, or Chainsaw Man, coming in and probably eating the aging devil, like very like pop, like eat its head, or just kill him, like just kill him so he has to like reform somewhere. And now that now we're bringing in another primordial devil. What if the Chainsaw Devil is a primordial devil? You know what I mean? What if he is a primordial devil? And the reason we don't think of him as a primordial devil anymore is because he ate the things that it was like. I'm trying to think about it in like a way of like the aging devil, because the aging devil, like obviously in term with death, obviously growing old. But what if there's like a devil of cell death? You know, like cells. What happens if somebody ate the cell devil, or the cell devil stopped existing? How would that affect the aging devil? What if we made aging? What if we took away the things that made aging scary by making it more specific? You know, because I think when it comes to these primordial devils, it's very vague. Like aging is a concept. It's not really a thing that you can hold. It's like war. There's not really a thing you can hold. A chainsaw probably is a thing you can hold, but we don't know what it was before. And like same thing, darkness, falling. These are primordial devils, and they are more abstract. And since they're abstract, they're obviously stronger. But the reason I think the chainsaw devil might be a primordial devil is because he, in the process of eating things, inadvertently made himself the chainsaw devil. You know, like by taking away the things that part of the things that made him scary, he became less scary. Stuff like, I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm probably not. But if you're on the same wavelength, like see if you can get what I'm saying, pick up what I'm putting down, to say the least. But that's chapter 179 of Chainsaw Man, and that's basically all we have left, except for the three chapters that are coming out for Black Clover in November. I'm very, because for me, the way I was thinking about it for Black Clover, I thought we were gonna keep doing the 2 chapter stuff. But now that we're getting 3 chapters, well, we don't know if it's a pattern yet until we get the next volume. You know, it's not a pattern right now. It's just like a outlier. Is this the ending of Black Clover? Probably not. If it is, that's not good. It's not a good sign. But if this is like quote unquote speeding up the plot, I'm saying quote unquote. But if this is like moving it forward a little faster, because the 2 chapters were nice, but now that we're getting 3, we can probably cover the lesser fights here. I'm saying lesser fights, like the Gordon fight, like the fight between the copy Luciuses, with Charmy and is Finral in that fight? I think he is. Yeah, Charmy, Finral, Seke. We can have, I think, all those fights, those like mini, like lesser air quote fights, get them out of the way with these 3 chapters, so that next chapter we can have the licked fight. The licked? No, not licked. No, yeah. Knocked. That's what I'm thinking about. We can have the knocked fight with his brother and Yami and your not Europe Chica and Yami's sister. We can have all that fight for like 3 chapters. Then we can have, I think there's one other big fight. I can't remember. There's one more. I can't remember right now. But then we can get the final fight between Asta, Yuno, and Lucius, and figure out, like, we kind of know what's happening. He's trying to make everybody immortal, like the generic villain thing. I want to lift up all of humanity, but I have to destroy it first, and I'll have to be God King, basically. But these 3 chapters are very promising, because obviously Jump Giga comes out every 3 months, every 3 to 4 months, and this is basically a chapter a month. This is a chapter a month. 30 pages, not 30 pages, like 20 something, 20 pages each, basically. That's great. You know, that's a lot of content to be dropping. And my hope and pray that since he's able to do this, 61 pages, 3 chapters, since he's able to do this, he can probably move to monthly. Because if he can move to monthly, Black Clover is back on the map as far as like general populace, as far as like normal anime watchers and manga goers are concerned. Because I'm sure everybody who likes Black Clover always says, and I'm sure anybody who's has a passing interest in Black Clover, especially now, is saying these 3 months are a lot. It's enough to forget about Black Clover and kind of be like, oh, right, Black Clover's a thing, you know? I really, really, really want this to be like a thing, you know? I want this so bad. And I hope and pray that we kind of get like this 3 chapters thing, maybe even hell, throw it up 4 chapters next time. If he starts like pumping out these chapters, that would be great. And with the Bleach anime coming out, that basically about to be over. You know, this is I think this is the final part of the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War anime. This is kind of like what's the next step for that studio? I forgot what I think it's Studio Paramount. Might be wrong. What's next step? Right? We can do Boruto weekly, Boruto seasonally, or Black Clover, which we have a lot of Black Clover to cover. So it has me very excited. I'm like I can't even begin to like explain how excited I am for this, for everything. And yeah, if you guys are excited too, tell me, like, comment, share, subscribe, usual stuff. Again, I really appreciate you guys watching if you guys do. And yeah, I'd like to bid you all a farewell.